Hey everyone, my name is Pat Sheridan. I'm a co-founder of the AMA, the American Mini Golf Alliance, and at one point in time I actually was the US record holder here on the Putt18 Mat. And I'm here actually to talk to you about the Putt18 Mat and its place in our AMA virtual event series. So what is the Putt18 Mat? Well, it's this. It's a putting mat that was originated in Australia. A bunch of us got started playing it in 2020 and have been doing some worldwide virtual leagues with folks from the UK, New Zealand, Australia over the years. And in 2023, and now rolling into future years, we've introduced this as one of the events in our virtual series where you can pick up a couple points in the AMA rankings. So what do you do to get involved with the Putt18 Mat and the AMA? Well, the first thing is you got to get yourself a mat or know somebody who has a mat. If you don't know somebody who has a mat, you can order one from www.putt18.com.au, and we'll provide some of these links in the description of the video. So get that, get it shipped out to yourself. The second thing you're going to do is go to amaminigolf.com, find our event page, find the Putt18 events, because that's going to have some links in there as well. There's going to be a link to a detailed rule sheet, which I won't go through everything in this video, so you'll want to read up on some of that stuff. But it's also going to have a link to our AMA event Facebook group page. And that's important because that's where you're going to live stream your rounds. So to compete in this event, you are live streaming what you play on this mat. And that's actually the reason I'm doing this video in portrait views, because I wanted to give an example of what it should look like when you're live streaming, because you want to make sure you get the entire mat in play. Depending on the angle that you have, that means when you're putting, you're probably going to see a lot of your feet, but hey, if you can get it up higher, the more of you can see. The important part is the whole mat from beginning to end and a decent overhead view of the targets, because that's where you're going to score your points, obviously. Targets, and hopefully not too many other places around the targets, but we want the whole mat because you'll end up in the water. Yeah, we're going to want to see that. So this is the way you're going to video it. You're going to go to that Facebook group page. You're going to sign up there and look for some of the information and posts on that page when it is tournament time on what you're supposed to be doing. So how do you play the mat? Well, let me go down here real quick and we'll give some examples. I'm not going to play, just going to point out some things, and then we'll talk about scoring and a couple other tips, tricks, and things to remember. So the Putt18 Mat is done very simply. It's got 6 tee spots. Each tee spot counts for 3 holes, and you play through a progression of clockwise, starting with the par 4. So you go par 4, par 5, and par 3 on holes 1, 2, 3, and repeat the progression 4, 5, 6 through 18. For a tournament, you will play 4 rounds of this. So you go through 18, reset yourself, go through again, and again, and that's your score for the tournament. There is no time limit on an AMA event. Differs than some of the stuff we'll talk about the Putt18 World League later on. So try to do it in a timely manner, because we are going to watch and validate some of the scores, but no rush. Take your time as a putter. I will say a tip right here when we're talking about going through. If you got somebody in the room, great. Have them kind of monitor to make sure that you're going to the same tee box, or use a little marker, coin, or something that you move along, because you don't want to re-hit the same tee box. That's going to end up in a penalty. All right, so you've hit your balls. What happens? Well, I got 3 showing right here. What you're going to do is you're going to come up and you're going to call out your scores. So I can call it as a birdie, a par, and a birdie in this case. Those up here, I could call it a bogey. I can say -1, even, +1. Whatever the point is to get the point across of where you scored. Hopefully it's a lot of stuff in the targets and the greens, not so much in the sand and the water, but hey, it happens. If you end up going off the mat, there's a penalty for that. There's also other penalties if you hit the ball, end up in the wrong target. Like I said, if you hit the same tee box 2 times in a row. So make sure you read all the rules closely. We want you to call out the scores because we'll be validating them when we look back on the video. And it's an honor system. So really, you're going to want to make sure, especially those ones that are close, you take your time to look at it and pick where the majority of the ball lands. And I will talk about what happens if it's on the line in just 1 second. But before that, I just want to suggest a tip in terms of scoring. Again, if you have somebody watching you, have them keep score as you go through, or yourself have a piece of paper or the computer on the side where you enter the scores as you go through. It's a good gut check at the end because we are going to ask you to put in your comments what you think your scores were for the 4 rounds and in total. So again, that we could validate it. Two things that are additional when it comes to playing and scoring. So the first is, well, what ball do I use? Well, the Putt18 Mat comes with the Putt18 balls, and that's what you normally use if you're playing in the World League. It's also probably what you're going to want to use if you think you can potentially shoot a U.S. record or a world record on that. Although I will say the U.S. record's set pretty low by our friend Gary Schiff, at least as of March 2024, where he shot it in our last AMA tournament. If you aren't concerned all about that, or you just want to have some fun or try some other things out, you can use different balls as long as you have 3 of the same type. What we're going to ask you to do is actually go up and show the ball to the camera. So hopefully this works. You should see an AMA blue ball. If I had 3 of these that I wanted to use, I would just show all 3 to the camera, validate that they're the same, and then I'd use them for my rounds. And we ask that you do use the same balls for all 4 rounds. I mean, this isn't traditional mini golf where you can change on every hole and all that fun sort of stuff. But if you got Chromax balls, Callaways, Titleists, you want to use something in an AMA event, by all means, go ahead and do. Just know that for the Putt18 events, you'll only use the Putt18 balls for those World League events. Now, the one item for scoring we do want to point out is the line balls. So again, lines, use your best judgment. If you really can't tell, it's an honor system, so you have to default to the higher score. But once per round, and I will use this example on the par 5, you do have an opportunity to reshoot a line ball. So if this par 5 I'm looking at and I really can't tell if it's on the par or if it's in the bogey, this would be an example of where I can use that once per round shot. Now you can only use it on the targets. If I'm between the bunker and the bogey, the water and the bogey, nope, can't do it there. Target centric. What you're going to do is after you hit the 3 balls, if there's the one that you want to pick as you're scoring, you're going to announce, hey, I'm going to use my retry, pick up the ball, go back to my tee shot, reshoot. Now, there's obviously things to consider. If I'm shooting from 1 through 3 back here, I'm going to have the par 3 in my way if I'm trying to reshoot a par 5, things like that. And then again, just remember, it's once per round. Otherwise, if you really can't tell, you're going to have to default to the higher score. If you have any questions about this or any of the other scoring prior to playing, you can definitely hit us up on our social media accounts, send us an email from the website, amaminigolf@gmail.com. We're happy to answer your questions. There's plenty of folks who have played Putt18 events at this point in time who can provide you some advice on that. And it's another reason we don't have a time limit. You can take your time, really look at things, make those decisions. If you got a friend there, ask them, things like that. So that's the very basics on playing, on scoring, line balls, the types of balls to use. The other thing I just want to point out and push is, if you're playing this tournament and you've never played in the World League at Putt18, you can go find their Facebook group as well. We'll have that link in the event page as well as this video description. They play several leagues during the year and different events. You can get involved in playing with people all over the world if you got the bug for this. But otherwise, you can just have fun, play against your friends, video some of it. There's plenty of different game modes that it comes with, mulligans, stuff like that. You can play as if you were playing at Pebble Beach and change the order of the holes and things like that. But for now, I think that's the basics that we got. We hope that you play in our AMA events. There's up to 5 points available for playing in that event. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So good luck. And like I said, if you have any questions, reach out to any of us at the AMA and we'll get those answered for you. So have a great day and happy putting.